People, LP2000, right back at you with another video. Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And I'm back again with another awesome X-Plus double figure review. I know I've been in like a double figure review mood as of late. Because if you saw my last video, I did a double figure review of the X-Plus 25cm as well as the 30cm 1967/68 Gorosaurus. And I'm back again with another double X-Plus figure review. And you already clicked the title. You already know who we're covering. The big baddie from the 1994 film. So without further ado, let's dive headfirst into this amazing, awesome, brilliant, spectacular double X-Plus figure review. And today I'm taking a look at the X-Plus Deforeal Standard Edition, as well as the X-Plus 25cm Total Large Monster Series Ric Exclusive version of the big baddie from the 1994 film Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla in Space Godzilla. Yes. And as you can see, I have all beautiful figures here. Yes, they are beautiful. Every single one of them. So now we do things around here. Let's get up close and personal with the packaging before we get into the figures. Because once again, I don't have the physical packaging here, or at least the packaging here physically, I should say. Once again, been through this before. I'm getting new figures. I'm getting more figures. I'm getting bigger figures. And I need to trash my boxes. I know it sucks, but hey, we all going to get there at some point, especially if you're a collector like me that has retained the packaging of every single figure over the years. It's getting to the point where you're going to have to phase them out to get new figures, which is fine. It is what it is. But the Deforeal, here's the packaging of the box. I'll provide inserts as we go along here, but the Deforeal box, a bluish box with a window display where you can actually see the figure inside. Part of the course when it comes to the Deforeals with the Japanese text of its name, Space Godzilla at the bottom. Good packaging, like I said, part of the course when it comes to the Deforeals. Now, Space Godzilla, because he is a larger 25cm figure, he didn't come in the normal red, white, and blue Toho Large Monster Series boxes with the window display like we all are accustomed to, right? He actually came in a brown box with a black silhouette of the figure. It has Toho Large Monster Series in Japanese text, his name in Japanese text, Space Godzilla. And it had a yellow sticker signifying that this is the Ric, because Little Godzilla was the mini Ric accessory that came with Space Godzilla. And I've been wanting to get to these figures for a while, because here's the backstory with the release dates of these figures. Now, the 25cm version, he came out, I want to say September of 2018, right? And the Deforeal, he just came out, I want to say maybe September or October last year of 2020. And I've been meaning to get to these figures for a while, at least as far as like reviews of these figures for a while. Because honestly, and I don't mind admitting this, Space Godzilla, at least the movie, is not one of my favorites. Now, I enjoy the kaiju. He's cool. Even though he's not super high up with me, I do find him cool. But the movie as a whole doesn't really sit well with me. So I guess that's one of the reasons why I've been dragging my feet getting to these figures. Now, when it came to the 25cm version, when this was first released, Space Godzilla really did look cool, but I was on the fence if I was going to get him or not. Quite frankly, it took Little Godzilla really as the main reason why I got this set in the first place, you know, because I didn't want to go for the standard, because the standard just came with Space Godzilla, right? Even though the figure is cool, I wanted Little Godzilla. So I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Tyler Boots Carlson for making it happen for me, because he ordered the figure for me at the time. And once again, Little Godzilla was the main attraction for me getting the Ric of this figure, the 25cm Space Godzilla, because truth be told, I love Little Godzilla. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Even though Junior is my favorite Heisei offspring of Godzilla, I love Little Godzilla. He's like a close second behind Godzilla Jr. And so far, he is the only X-Plus representation of a Heisei Godzilla offspring that they have done thus far. Can you believe that? There's no baby Godzilla, there's no Junior, but Little Godzilla is the only one. More on that later when I get up close and personal with him. But once again, Little Godzilla was the main reason why I got Space Godzilla, the 25cm version. And honestly, after having Space Godzilla for a while now, he's become one of my favorite 25cm figures because he is amazing, but we'll get more into him later on. Now, the Deforeal, that's interesting because, once again, you know I'm into the Deforeals. I never thought I would be as into them as I am currently at this point, because I'm at 26. In a few months from now, I'm probably going to be up to 30 and 31. I never thought I would get this far, but this line is awesome. These figures are awesome, and for a while, I was kind of practicing this philosophy or this idea that I don't need every single one of them, and I still am practicing that philosophy. So I initially passed on Space Godzilla because at the time I had a 25cm version. I got the 30, and once again, like I said, I'm not too high up on Space Godzilla as a movie and as a character. I enjoy him, but I'm not too into him where I want multiple representations of him. But the Deforeal did look good from various reviews I've seen, pictures I've seen, and around Christmas time, I want to give you a shout out and thank you to Awesome Collectors Jason Welling. He had it on his site for basically the same price that it was when it came out in September of last year. And I got it earlier this year, probably like the first or second week in January. So probably one of the first box days that I have for this year was Space Godzilla. And now that I have the Deforeal, he is awesome Deforeal. So once again, wasn't really feeling them at first, but it took me having them in my possession to really understand the greatness that they are, the awesomeness that they have, I should say. And they are amazing figures, despite the fact that even though Space Godzilla may not be very, very popular, the film may not be very popular, but I've always said, you know, don't let your disdain or, I guess, your distaste or at least lack of enthusiasm of a movie deny you from having figures or collectibles pertaining to that said movie. You see what I'm saying? And Space Godzilla, in my opinion, they have done a great job with Space Godzilla X-Plus I'm talking about, with the Deforeal, especially with the 25, you know, whatever. The 30cm, he looks great, but once again, we'll get to him in size comparison. But I think between the three of them, these two are probably the best ones, but we'll get to that later on. So that's the backstory with me getting these figures and the release dates and all that good stuff. So let's get up close and personal with both the Deforeal and the 25cm Space Godzilla. We'll set Little Godzilla aside for the time being until it's time to get to him. But both figures of the Deforeal and 25cm Space Godzilla looks great. Basically, the attention to detail on the skin is great. You know, tree bark like skin, like we have been accustomed to with ordinary Godzilla figures, at least the Heisei ones, I should say. It has a dark bluish, midnight bluish tint of skin. Paint applications on both the Deforeal and 25 looks really, really, really good. The tails, basically, the tails are kind of like curved the same way. They're sculpted the same way, whereas like it's going upwards, it's going outwards a little bit. You know, it has that elegance type of thing going on. An elegant looking tail, quite frankly, which is not, you know, which is cool because it's great to have figures, you know, that don't have like the standard tail that lays flat on the ground. Right, like the gigantic 54. His tail just lays flat on the ground and goes straight out, which is fine, but there's nothing really spectacular about that. But still, when you look at the tails of both Space Godzilla, from both the Deforeal and the 25cm version of Space Godzilla, with it going outwards and upwards and all that good stuff, it kind of looks like the figure, or at least the monster, is in motion. So I kind of do like that a little bit more. Now the dorsal crystals, let me get that straight. They're not dorsal plates like with their with the original Godzilla, they're actually dorsal crystals. The dorsal crystals on both of the monsters, or both the figures, I should say, looks really, really good. They're more so whitish than the really dirty bone white that we're accustomed to with ordinary Heisei Godzillas, or just Godzillas in general, right? They have more of a brighter whitish color on the dorsal plates, which looks really, really good. Now, the 25cm has more of a purple hue going towards the base of each of the dorsal plates, you know, whereas the Deforeal has more of a reddish type of purple color going towards the base of the dorsal plates on that figure, you know. Same thing with the shoulder crystals. Shoulder crystals, they're white, you know, whatever. They're more so whitish on the 25cm version, where the Deforeal is more so of a dirty white. And like the dorsal crystals, I should say, they has like a little, like a reddish color on going towards the base of the shoulder crystal, going towards the middle of its upper arm, you know, on the Deforeal. But the 25cm has more of a purplish color, you know. The abdomens of both are looking really, really, really well, sculpted really, really well. Because Space Godzilla had that, like, that weird chest and his weird abdomen where his kind of gut thing is kind of like sticking out towards his lower torso, whatever. Didn't really understand that, or understood that, I should say. But they're but they both are sculpted really well between both the figures. Now, the 25cm has more so of a dark reddish maroonish color, where the Deforeal has more so of a purplish color, you know. I think between the two, I think actually the Deforeal is more suit accurate, or at least paint accurate to actual suit of the film. I think some artistic liberties were taken with the 25cm version, but they still look great in my opinion. Now the head sculpts on both, now that's probably like one of the major differences between the two figures, obviously, because the Deforeals emphasizes more so on the oversized massive heads, but they're uniquely detailed, you know what I'm saying? And this is no exception when it comes to Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla on the Deforeal looks really, really great with the eyes, the teeth individually sculpted, that yellow crest in the middle of his head, you know, whatever, his ears, you know, his ears just popping out, perking out a little bit, give him a more devilish, you know, look. The fact that he's closed mouth, he does look really, really sinister. He kind of like has that 64 Godzilla thing going on, where he looks more sinister with his mouth closed versus his mouth being wide open. You see all his sharp, light teeth coming at you, you know, whatever. So the face on the Deforeal looks really, really great. Now, let's go with the head sculpt of the face of the 25cm version. And this is something I've seen a lot of collectors really complain about when it comes to the 25cm version of Space Godzilla. They don't really like the head sculpt of this figure. They find it wrong. They find it like it just doesn't look right. They find it just to be probably the worst thing about the figure overall. And I would argue, quite frankly, I think it's probably one of the best things about this figure. I think the head sculpt looks spot on, because Space Godzilla's head wasn't really large. It was really signifying how Godzilla looked at the time, you know, where he had like more of a smaller head, because he started out in 84 where his head was big, then he went to the 89, 91, and his head in a way kind of like progressively smaller. And around this time in 1994, his head was pretty much around this size. So I don't really have a problem with the head sculpt, at least the size of the head on the 25cm version of Space Godzilla here. I think it looks great. You know, I think it's one of the best things about this figure. But the individually sculpted teeth, you know, the mandibles, you know, whatever, as well as the Deforeal, I forgot about to say about the mandibles, you know, the white mandibles on the upper and lower jaw towards the back end of his face, you know, whatever. That to me signifies Biolante's role in Space Godzilla's creation, because we already seen the film that, you know, they hypothesized that Space Godzilla was created for one of two reasons. Biolante going into orbit and her cells scattered into space, and then that basically evolved into Space Godzilla, or pieces of Godzilla's flesh was attached to Mothra when Mothra went out into space in 1992 to stop the meteorite from hitting Earth. Maybe some of the flesh of Godzilla that was attached to Mothra floated into space, and that created Space Godzilla. But to me, these mandibles, the white mandibles on both Deforeal, on the Deforeal and the 25, as well as the 30, because it's on the 32, that signifies to me that Biolante was the main reason that Space Godzilla was born. It came more so for Biolante than the Mothra theory, but the mandibles look great on both of the figures. But you know, the claws, you know, bone white, you know, whatever, on both the figures look really, really good. He has more so of darker toes on the 25, which looks great. We have more whitish color on the Deforeals. On the Deforeal, excuse me. So there are differences, you know, but pretty much, you know, the paint apps are pretty much spot on and almost similar between the two figures, even though there are like maybe fluctuations here and there. You know, like I said, with the with the color on the base of the shoulder crystal and the dorsal plate between the two, you know, whatever. But overall, the paint scheme on the skin, the way the tails are curved towards the back end of the figure, the dorsal crystals look great, you know, they look really similar. These are solid representations of Space Godzilla, in my opinion. So if you're able to find these figures for a good price, please go after them, especially if you're a fan of the film, if you're a fan of Space Godzilla as a character, as a kaiju. These are great representations. Now, I know the Deforeals, they're an acquired taste. I get that. I know not everybody's into the Deforeals. Some people just don't see the appeal of them. Some people find them to be a waste of time or a waste of space or a waste of an opportunity for X-Plus to make figures. They don't see the need for X-Plus to waste their time on the Deforeals, which I don't really understand that. But these are great figures. You know, they're not super expensive. They don't command a whole bunch of space on your shelves. You know, they're just like Funko Pop figures. They're just cute little figures with big heads. That's basically all they are. But at the same time, they have the same attention to detail that you will find in a 25 centimeter 30 or gigantic or Sakai X-Plus figure. You just compact into this small little Deforeal or Funko Pop frame here. And once again, I initially passed on Space Godzilla as a Deforeal. But now that I have it, I'm glad I did get my hands on it, because this is one of the better Deforeals that they've ever done, in my opinion. The 25 centimeter Space Godzilla, once again, he is amazing. He really is amazing, despite the fact that, you know, there may be some issues with the head, that some people find the head to be inaccurate or inadequate, I should say. I don't see that. I think the figure looks great. I think the figure looks great for the 25 centimeter scale. Because there are times where the 25 centimeter scale offers more detail than the 30s. There are certain monsters that actually have more of a better detail on 25 centimeter versions of themselves than their 30 centimeter counterparts. The ones that comes to mind, I think the Rodan 64 is a better quality figure than the 30. I think Gigan 72 is a better quality figure than the 30, you know. Maybe Hedra, you know, whatever. And I think Space Godzilla is a better quality figure than probably the 30, which you'll see in size comparisons in a few seconds. Now, before we move on to the size comparisons, let's talk about the Ric feature of these figures. Now, the Ric feature that came to Deforeal was a light up, but once again, I'm getting to the point where I'm not really into the light ups. Now, I'm for light ups when it's absolutely necessary, and if it looks right on the figure, you know, whatever, and if I feel the need to go for it. But with Space Godzilla, since, you know, I wasn't really high up on him in the first place, me just having just the figure of him was more than enough. So I didn't really feel the need to go after the Ric version. Now, once again, as I mentioned earlier, Little Godzilla, a small mini version of Little Godzilla, a 25 centimeter scale version of Little Godzilla, was the Ric accessory of the 25 centimeter Space Godzilla. And once again, this is probably the main reason why I went after this piece. And now, looking back on it now, I'm glad I got Space Godzilla anyway, because he is awesome, quite frankly. I actually seen folks was going to go for this set and was interested only in Little Godzilla and was going to sell Space Godzilla because they didn't feel the need to have Space Godzilla in their collection. I'm not going to do that, because once again, I am enjoying this figure. Now, Little Godzilla, he looks great. You know, he looks just like the character in the film, you know, with the light green texture all over his body, the big eyes, you know, that's like a trademark of Little Godzilla, the big eyes, you know, the dark, dirty brown dorsal plates, you know, his tail's not really long, it's very stubby, kind of like, you know, the figure, at least the monster itself. Once again, he looks really perfect, in my opinion, you know, and like I said, he's the only Heisei offspring that X-Plus has ever done. They have not done a baby Godzilla. They have not done a Godzilla Jr. But, you know, Little Godzilla is the only one from X-Plus that they have done. And they have done a great job with this. So if they can do this, can you imagine what Godzilla Jr. will look like at some point? Or baby Godzilla will look like at some point? Between the two, I want to see Jr. first, quite frankly. But for the time being, Little Godzilla is the only one. And they have done a great job. And ironically, you know what? They have done pretty much every single monster from this film of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, but the one monster they have not done, ironically, is Godzilla. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? They have not done a 1994 Godzilla, but they have done pretty much every other Heisei version of Godzilla. They have done multiple 84s, multiple 89s, a couple 91, 92s. They got 193, multiple 95s, but the 94 is the only one that they have not done. Gojira 851 has been singing it from the highest of mountains and from the lowest of rivers that we need a 94 Godzilla at some point. Whether it's a 25 or 30 or a Sakai or whatever. But like I said, they've done every single monster from this film. Little Godzilla, Space Godzilla, even Mogera. Yes, they have done a Mogera from this film. They have not gotten us to the 94 Godzilla yet. And it's only a matter of time before we do get one. I know we will get one at some point. Just a question of which one they would do first. Will they do a 25cm version they put up against the Space Godzilla here, or will they do a 30 to put up against the 30? Or the 30 Mogera that they have done, right? But either way, we know he's coming at some point, just a matter of when they would do it. But I know he will come at some point. Just a question of which one they would do, a 30 or a 25. But once again, can you believe that? No 94 Godzilla, but they have done every single one of them. Other monster from the film. That's kind of weird. But we know he's coming at some point. But until then, these are great figures. They are all awesome figures. Once again, the Deforeal Space Godzilla is amazing. The 25cm version of Space Godzilla is amazing. The Ric feature of the 25cm version of Space Godzilla, Little Godzilla, is amazing. Basically, all these figures are amazing. If you're a fan of the film or a fan of the kaiju itself, you owe it to yourself to go after either one of these figures. I think between the two, I think the Deforeal is more accessible. With the 25, you may have to hunt for him. If you do find him is going to be up there in price, especially with the Ric here. You know, he's going to be way up there in price. But I say if you find one for a good price and if it's worth it to you, go after all these figures. You will not be disappointed. Now let's go into one size comparison. Yes, I'm not going to drown the figure review in a whole bunch of size comparisons. Really, only the one size comparison that matters. Now I have the Deforeal Space Godzilla. I have the 25cm version of Space Godzilla, and as I told you earlier, I have the 30. So let's bring in the 30 and let's see all the Space Godzillas from X-Plus in this awesome lineup right here in the one and only size comparison in this video. So let's go to that one and only size comparison with all the X-Plus Space Godzillas right now. Okay, folks, here we are with the one and only size comparison. And yes, we have been talking about the Deforeal's version of Space Godzilla, the 25cm version of Space Godzilla. Now we bring up the big guy, the big boy, yes, the 30cm version of Space Godzilla. And basically, these are all the Space Godzillas that X-Plus has ever done in their impressive roster. And as you can see, they look well together. They really look well together. Now, the detail on the 30cm version is obviously, in a way, kind of a step down from the 25 and the Deforeal, because the 30 came out, I want to say 2013, I think late 2013, I believe. I think so, yeah. It's been a while. And since then, you know, X-Plus has really upped their game in terms of the way they sculpted their figures, the more detail they apply to their figures. So you can definitely see the differences in the detail of the 30 in comparison to the 25 and the Deforeal. But don't get that twisted that, you know, because the 30 has not the same detail as the other two, that is a mediocre figure. It really isn't. The size of him alone makes him very, very impressive. Because once again, even though he's a 30cm figure, he runs like maybe the 14 inches mark. He's like a shade under, maybe a small inch under the gigantic GMK Godzilla. So he's a big figure. He's a big, beefy figure, which is appropriate because he was a big, beefy monster. But as you can see here, he looks really, really, really well. Now, Little Godzilla, I provide an insert here of what Little Godzilla looks like up against some 30s, aside from Space Godzilla here. But he does look great up against the 93 Godzilla 30cm version. Now, it's not the same Godzilla from Space Godzilla, but he's close enough. He's like a great stand-in until we do get the eventual 94 Godzilla. So having Little Godzilla up against the 30cm Space Godzilla, the 30cm 93, or maybe the 30cm Mogera, Little Godzilla does look great, even though he's a little bit smaller than what he should be. He should be like around half the height of Godzilla and Space Godzilla, because that's how it was in the film, quite frankly. But until we do get a proper 30cm version of Little Godzilla, this will do for the time being. He does look great up against the 30s, even though it's not completely suit accurate. But for us like Space Godzilla here, they have done a great job, in my opinion. Once again, the detail may not be as crisp on the 30 as it is on the 25 and Deforeal. But as you can see here, once you have all these figures together, it doesn't really matter, because they have done an impressive job with all the Space Godzillas that X-Plus has ever done in their impressive roster. So that's pretty much it with all the size comparisons. This is only the size comparison that mattered. All the Space Godzillas from X-Plus that they have ever done, and they all look great. Yes. So without further ado, let's go to my final commentary portion of the video, and let's wrap this video up with the 25cm as well as the Deforeal version of Space Godzilla. And let's talk about the film a little bit before we get up out of here. So let's do that right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the X-Plus Deforeal Standard Edition, as well as the 25cm Ric Exclusive edition of Space Godzilla from 1994's Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Once again, both these figures, as a matter of fact, all three of these figures are amazing. They really are. if you can go for the Ric or the 25cm version, please do, because little Godzilla is awesome. He is amazing. Yes, he is. Once again, he is the only Heisei version, at least the Heisei offspring of Godzilla represented from X-Plus. I'm sure the other ones will follow. Like I said, Baby Godzilla, especially Godzilla Jr. But for the time being, he's the only one, and they've done a great job with him. So I can only imagine what Baby Godzilla and Godzilla Jr. will look like in the future. But if you can go for the Ric, the 25cm version, please do it, because little Godzilla is worth the extra money of getting him into your collection. Once again, the Deforeal, he's amazing. Whether you go for the Ric or the Standard, either way, just get this figure into your collection, especially if you're a Space Godzilla fan or a fan of the movie. Once again, you meant to do some legwork to find the 25cm version. I think Awesome Collector may have a few extras of the Deforeal. So once again, if you could get your hands on either one of these figures or all of them at some point, please do so. You will not be disappointed, especially if you're a fan, like I said, of the character and or the movie. Now, let's talk about the movie just a little bit. Now, I know historically, I have not been too kind to this film. But you know what? I'm not going to do that during this final commentary portion of the video. I'm actually going to praise the film a little bit. At least I want to praise what I enjoy about the film. Now, truth be told, Space Godzilla is regarded as like the redheaded stepchild of the Heisei series in a lot of respects. That one in 92, even though the 92, ironically, was the most successful Heisei film, it's the one that made the most money out of all of them. Can you believe that? 1992, Battle for Earth, Godzilla vs. Mothra. But Space Godzilla is the one that really doesn't get on a lot of people's good sides. And there's a few reasons that play into that. We ain't got to go into that, because like I said, I want to praise what I enjoy about the film. Now, what I enjoy about the film is basically this one simple premise. Way back in 1972 and 1974, both of those films, Godzilla vs. Gigan as well as Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, two important moments happen in those films that are kind of similar to each other, where we see the real Godzilla face off against a Godzilla imposter. In 72, we see Godzilla fight, or at least be taken down, almost killed by the Godzilla Tower. You know, that facsimile giant tower that was made in the likeness of Godzilla, and we kind of see them do battle towards the tail end of that film. 2 years later, 1974, it's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, where we see an imposter Godzilla, Mechagodzilla disguised as the real Godzilla, do battle with the real Godzilla. So those two moments really got me spoiled on the idea that at some point that I wanted to see a Godzilla versus Godzilla story. I want to see a Godzilla versus Godzilla story where a version of Godzilla meets a different version of Godzilla and they do battle. Now, we almost got that in the next film in this series, Godzilla vs. Destroyer. That wasn't the original plan. The original plan for the next film in this series was Godzilla versus Ghost Godzilla, excuse me. And the premise of that film is that the ghost of the original 1954 Godzilla basically would come back, and he will materialize into a flesh and blood Godzilla, and he would then do battle with the current Godzilla, with the Heisei version of Godzilla. So we almost got a film where we would see the Heisei version of Godzilla do battle with the Showa version of Godzilla, but we didn't see it, and we didn't get that because it was felt at the time that Godzilla faced too many versions of himself in the Heisei period, which I can understand that, because look at what he faced, or who he faced. There were so many other Godzilla-like creatures that Godzilla came across in the Heisei series. Baalante, Mechagodzilla, Godzilla Jr., Baby Godzilla, Space Godzilla. You see what I'm saying? There were so many Godzilla-like creatures that the real Godzilla that came across during the Heisei period. So I can understand why they went with the Destroyer direction for the final film or the next film in the series. But ever since 72 and 74, I've always wanted to see a Godzilla versus Godzilla story or a movie. And we never got that. You know, we got teasers of it, like I said, in 72 and 74, but we never got that. But when you really think about it, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla is pretty much the closest thing that we would ever get to a Godzilla versus Godzilla story. Because Space Godzilla, even though he's not the real Godzilla, but he's still a flesh and blood clone of Godzilla, albeit a grotesque, demented, evil space version. But he is still a version of Godzilla. And once again, that's what I appreciate the most about this film. That we finally got to see a Godzilla versus Godzilla story. And I think that's lost upon this movie. I think a lot of people really overlook that because they're more so fascinated, or at least they're more drawn to the flaws of this film, which can easily, which you can easily find in this film. I won't question that. I won't try to defend that or whatever. But I think the beauty of this film is that this is the only film pretty much in this series where we see Godzilla face off against Godzilla. And really, it's kind of appropriate that in the Heisei series, because majority of the Heisei series, Godzilla is treated as the antagonist, as the villain, as the monster that needs to be stopped no matter what, right? I guess you can throw Basher into the situation, but really Space Godzilla was the first monster that was the evil monster that kind of turned Godzilla somewhat into a babyface, maybe an anti-hero babyface. But he was so powerful. Basically, Space Godzilla is like Hedra in the Showa period, where he was the first opponent, a one true opponent that really gave Godzilla a run for his money, you know? Where even the great Godzilla himself, he couldn't take him out on his own. He needed Mogera's help to take out Space Godzilla. And I think at first I didn't appreciate that. I will admit that I didn't appreciate that Godzilla needed help, especially from that dumbed down Mecha Godzilla clone Mogera. I got the figure, but I'm not really a big fan of that character as well, Mogera. So I didn't really like the fact at first that Godzilla needed Mogera's help to take down Space Godzilla. But at the same time, I appreciate the beauty in the fact that Space Godzilla was so powerful that the great Godzilla actually needed help to beat him. And it shows that basically the greatest foe of Godzilla, especially from the Heisei period, I don't really count Destroyer, because Godzilla's died anyway, so I don't really count Destroyer, which kind of hurts Destroyer credibility in my opinion, but that's another story for another time. But I think Space Godzilla is really just the idea that basically the greatest foe of Godzilla is Godzilla himself. So I think that's the beauty of Space Godzilla. So once you rewatch Space Godzilla and get a newfound appreciation for it, once I got these figures in my hand, I actually watched the film not too long ago, and I actually enjoy a little bit more. It's still not one of my favorites. I still look at it the same as I have for all these many years, but I've grown to appreciate what it tried to do. And this is what I've always tried to do when it comes to films, at least Godzilla films that are not so good, that are kind of bad in certain respects. I try to look at some of the positives that film or story or whatever may bring. Like the anime. I'm not really a big fan of the original anime trilogy, but I appreciate the effort what they try to do by taking Godzilla into new directions. The same with Shin Godzilla. I don't watch Shin Godzilla all too often, but I do appreciate the effort of what they try to do new with the character. Now with Space Godzilla, once again, I appreciate the fact that we actually do get a Godzilla versus Godzilla storyline or a movie. I don't know if they're going to revisit that in the future, but until then, this is all we have. And you know what, in that respect, it's not that bad in that respects. So why don't you rewatch Space Godzilla, for me. Try and get a newfound appreciation for it. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe you'll come around on it like I have. But it does deserve a rewatch. Trust me when I say that. But until then, you can find these figures for a good price. Please do so. You will not be disappointed. Trust me when I say that. So that pretty much includes my X-Plus double figure review of the Deforeal Standard Edition and the Ric Exclusive Edition 25cm version of Space Godzilla 1994 from the 1994 Heisei flick Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. You have any questions, comment down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Let's Be Changed. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, great figures. Once again, I'm in a double X-Plus figure review mode. Mood as of late. And once again, it took me a while to get these figures. Because like I said, the 25cm version came out in 2018. This one came out late last year. Here it is, the middle of 2021. I'm now getting around to reviewing these figures. But they're awesome. And it makes me appreciate not only the character, but the movie just a little bit more. It's not on my top 10 of favorite Godzilla films list, I will admit that, but it still has risen up from obscurity just a little bit, and these figures have really have made me come around on the film. And that's a testament to how awesome X-Plus is. I said it many times before, was never really a big fan of the Burning Godzilla in terms of design of the in terms of design of the monster. But once I got my hands on the X-Plus representations of it, the Sakai, the gigantic, whatever, I actually like the suit more so now. And I can honestly say the same about Space Godzilla here. So if you can find these figures for a good price, once again, you may have to hunt for the 25cm version more so than the Deforeal. I think Deforeal is more accessible at this point at the time it's recorded than the 25. But if you can find either one of these figures for a good price, please do so. And if you can find the Ric for the 25, go after that one as well, because Little Godzilla is worth the investment. Yes, yes, yes. I got a few more reviews I got to do. I'm sorry I've been kind of slacking on reviews, been real busy at work and other things, but I'm starting to crank out the reviews more. So hopefully you'll be entertained with what I got coming down the pipeline. Just to give you a taste of some things I have coming down the pipeline, I got the Deforeal Gamma 96 review I got coming. I got the Monsterverse 30cm Skullcrawler from X-Plus coming. I just got word at Spiral Studios King Ghidorah that I ordered should be shipping out real soon, so you know that's coming. The 25cm Jiger I know is coming real soon. So there are a lot of reviews coming down the pipeline that will definitely keep you entertained for the foreseeable future, and hopefully you will enjoy that content when it does come at some particular point in the future. But until then, get these figures. Get Space Godzilla, whether it's the Deforeal or the 25 or the Ric. You would not go wrong with these figures, especially if you're a fan of the film and of the kaiju from the film. 1994's Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Yes, yes, yes. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on this Figure Move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.